Hi, Luke here with Solid State Logic, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at something a little different from SSL, our new plugin SubGen. SSL SubGen is a high-quality sub-bass harmonic synthesizer with 4 independently configurable bands generating frequencies an octave lower than the signal source. So whether you're looking to rebuild bass frequencies in a thin-sounding or poorly recorded kick and bass guitar track, or generate LFE content for a film mix or sound design project, SubGen provides an intuitive interface to quickly generate rumble and sub-bass. When in use, the beauty of SubGen is the intuitive interactive GUI for controlling the gain, width and frequency of each band, as well as workflow enhancements such as per-band soloing options, mix lock and built-in contextual help. With the use of the 3 tailored saturation modes of pre, kick and bass, alongside the gain compensated drive control, it's so easy to dial in harmonic character for different sources. SubGen goes even further with refinement for control of your sub-bass dynamics by using the compressor module and the intuitive all-in-one mix, allowing you to blend any combination of your wet and dry signals from a single parameter, as well as dial in parallel compression and punch. So that's what SubGen is all about, and in this tutorial we'll take a look at some examples of SubGen in action, looking at some obvious places we can utilise the sub-synthesis engine to rescue a thin sounding recording, but also some more specialist applications for sound design and creative use of dialing in the low end for your mix. So let's have a look at the plugin GUI. Starting on the left, we have the input trim with a plus to minus 24 dB range and input meters with clip warnings. This will become important for gain staging into the plugin, as remember sub-frequency energy is potentially very loud, so we'll often need to dial back the input trim to allow enough headroom for the SubGen signal. At the top of the GUI, we have the input signal display, showing the source that will trigger our synth bands. In this section, we also have a high and low pass filter to tailor the input signal, cleaning out any unwanted frequencies before the sub-synth signal is generated. Next, we've got the center section with the 4 synthesis bands and the main graph that displays the generated sub-bass for each band, with the input signal in the background to easily navigate to the frequency range we want to generate. Each band has a minus 60 to plus 12 dB gain range, with a center frequency display and Q width parameter that we can adjust once powered on, simply by dragging the node to adjust the gain and frequency point. We can then dial this in with a Q width to tailor in the amount of generated sub-frequencies to keep the signal clean and musical. Each band also has individual soloing options in the top left corner for added control in dialing in the perfect signal. Across the bottom we come to the drive section with 3 modes to choose from: bass, kick and pre, with the drive dial going all the way to 11. We then have a compressor that just affects the synthesized signal with meter and makeup gain. When we start driving the levels high via the bands, we can then use the compressor to rein in the volume and balance with the makeup gain to taste. Right again, we're now looking at the mix control, balancing the wet to dry signal between the input signal and the synthesized information. Fully left is the dry signal, the center is an equal mixture of dry signal to wet signal, and fully right is just the SubGen signal. Finally, on the right is our output level, allowing us to dial in the output to avoid clipping. Okay, in this tutorial we're going to look at using SubGen to beef up the kick drum in an acoustic drum kit setup. So I've got a 5-piece drum kit sound going on. Let's have a listen and then let's see what we can do with SubGen to beef up the low end. So it's a cool sound, fairly dry. We notice here that the kick fundamental's at 120. So I've set up my bands at 60 and 30 using bands 1 and 2 on SubGen. This is what it sounds like with SubGen engaged. Go back to dry. And then fully wet. Even that's a usable sound on its own, but let's dial that back to about 25% extra over wet. And turn SubGen off. And there you have it, a really easy way to beef up the kick drum sound on an acoustic kit while still sounding natural. Okay, so in this tutorial we're going to use SubGen to reinforce the low end of a bass resonance patch off my Mini Moog. Often when you increase the resonance, the low end will start to decrease on certain filters. So let's take a look at this in situ. I've got the resonance on the Moog turned all the way out, and we're going to see on XEQ2 here a really full low end. Okay, so now I'm going to hold this note, but I'm also going to turn the resonance up and you'll see the bass decrease. Bring it back a bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do is use SubGen to bring back that bass of this patch. So let's look at the previously set up patch that I've set. I've recorded in some audio via MIDI, and we're going to first listen to the full patch, then the resonance decreases, and then I'm going to bring in SubGen. No SubGen. Bring SubGen back in. So all I've done is, as the bass is moving, I've set up 3 bands each with really wide Q widths. So as the octave hits that area of the SubGen patch, it boosts that part of the frequency, so it keeps it nice and level tracking. And that's a really nice way of just filling out the low end on a reso patch that would otherwise have lost the bass.